Hello, future officers. Welcome to another session of NewsKase, wherein we try to bring you the most relevant of the current news integrated with static, prelims, as well as mains. Right? So, the topic for today's discussion is the need for climate smart agriculture in India. And what is the source of this particular NewsKase session? So, the source is The Hindu. And what is the relevance of this particular news item or news topic? So it is relevant for GS paper 1 as well as GS paper 3, and not to forget geography optional. Right. And do we have any instances of previous year questions related to this particular topic? Yes, certainly we have instances of both prelims as well as mains question pertaining to this particular topic, right? In fact, in year 2023 itself, इसी साल, what was the question? So in GS paper 1, the question was, discuss the consequences of climate change on food security in tropical countries. Right. So this was a 10 marker question, and we have to write this in 150 words, right? So let us begin. And the context, as I've already mentioned, it was there in The Hindu. So need for climate smart agriculture in India. So climate smart agriculture has the potential to ensure food security, empower the farmers, and protect our delicate ecosystems. Now, the most pressing of all issues that the humanity or the world is facing is climate change. And climate change has far-reaching implications or repercussions on a number of things, and agriculture is no exception, right? So the two most important issues are climate change and the food insecurity that the world is facing. And examples of climate change include heat waves, flash floods, droughts, and cyclones. And the severity as well as the intensity of these extreme weather events is on a rise. And the world's southern continents are experiencing severe drought, right? And this severe drought is because of climate change, which negatively impacts the agricultural production and the farmer's livelihood. And what is even more challenging is ever increasing population, right? So population expansion and the dietary changes, these are contributing to increase in the demand for the agricultural products. Agar population badhegi, definitely the need for food would rise. So as a result, what is happening? Traditional farming practices, they are becoming less and less productive with every passing day and every passing year. So what is required in the face of changing climate is climate smart agricultural practices. So what do we mean by climate smart agricultural practices? We will see. And what are the components or the pillars of climate smart agriculture? So this we will discuss, right? And you can see that the need for holistic strategy is driven by climate change's dual challenges. What are the dual challenges? Dual challenges are adaptation, that how do we adapt to the changing climate, as well as how to mitigate the impacts of climate changes, right? And the pressing need for agriculture production to rise by 60% by year 2050. But all of us are aware that the lands for agriculture are shrinking day by day. Reason is growing urbanization, right? It is one of the primary factors or reason. So first things first, what do we mean by climate smart agriculture? Now, climate smart agriculture is an integrated approach. It is an integrated approach wherein we try to manage different landscapes in a holistic manner, right? Be it the croplands, the livestock, forest, as well as the fisheries that address the interlinked challenges of food security and climate change. Please pay attention. What is being given? Interlinked challenges of food security and climate change. Definitely, climate change and food security are very much interlinked or interrelated, right? And just to give you an idea that how these two are interlinked. So climate change. So climate change is the long-term variation or shift in the temperature or the weather patterns, mainly driven by anthropogenic reasons. And one of the primary factors or reason is burning of fossil fuels, right? So because of climate change, we are seeing temperature anomalies. And because of the same, what is happening? The cropping pattern, right? As well as the crop yields, the crop production, everything is being badly impacted. Just to give you an example, because of climate change and temperature is increasing, thereby the precipitation pattern, it is being impacted. And because of that, be it the cropping pattern, sowing season, harvesting season, everything is being significantly impacted. Because of rise in temperature, pests, insects and pests, they are on a rise, right? And temperature increase की वजह से sea level is also rising. Sea level is also rising. Now, just think for a while. If sea level is rising, so what would happen? Because of sea level rise, sea water intrusion would occur. And because of sea water intrusion, the fertile soils, right, they would be more prone to salinity, and that would badly impact the crop yields, right? Now, definitely the viable option that we have is climate smart agriculture, right? And as per FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization, CSA or climate smart agriculture is an approach for transforming. We have to transform our food and agriculture system so as to support sustainable development and also to safeguard the food security under the climate change, right? So we need to transform how do we produce our food. So that has to be in consonance, or that has to keep in mind the changing climate, right? So basically there are three main pillars of climate smart agriculture. And what are these three pillars? These are not very difficult to comprehend or appreciate starting. So pillar number one is sustainably increase agricultural productivity and incomes. Definitely agricultural productivity and incomes at the same time need to be increased or boosted, right? Because it would help farmers build resilience to adapt to climate change. Thereafter, adapt and build resilience to climate change. This is the second pillar of CSA, that is climate smart agriculture. And finally, removing or reducing the greenhouse gas emission wherever it is possible. एक बहुत common example quote किया जाता है when we read about livestock, that livestock are one of the major producers of methane gas apart from other greenhouse gases. And why do we need to reduce greenhouse gases? Because it is the ability of the greenhouse gas to trap the incoming shortwave solar radiation, and it does not allow the terrestrial long wave radiation to escape, thereby raising or increasing the global temperatures. Right? And the dimensions of climate smart agriculture practices, they include water smart as well as weather smart, energy smart, and carbon smart practices. We will see all of these. What do we mean by water smart, weather smart energy, as well as carbon smart practices? So I hope this concept of climate smart agriculture is clear, and why it is being promoted worldwide, why it is seen as a promising solution with regards to the climate change. And the future impacts of climate change on the agricultural productivity, it could be substantial. And just a point in case is, in India, the crop yields decline. Everybody can say that crop yield would decline, but if you can quote specific examples, then obviously you would get half extra marks from your rest of the competitors. So in India, crop yield decline owing to climate change between year 2010 and 2039, it could be as high as up to 9%. Now that is a huge number, considering that India is the most populous country in the entire world, right? So in order to combat the climate change and sustainably boost the agricultural output as well as revenue, a radical reform of agriculture industry is required, right? It is very much required. And if we look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or popularly known as SDGs, so they also talk about zero hunger. And zero hunger is Sustainable Development Goal number 2. And how can we imagine zero hunger without क्लाइमेट रेजिलियंट एग्रीकल्चर और क्लाइमेट स्मार्ट एग्रीकल्चर के बिना हम कल्पना नहीं कर सकते किस चीज की, जीरो हंगर की, राइट? In fact, SDG number 1 that talks about no poverty, it is also intricately linked with the farming practices, because even in today's time of artificial intelligence, significant populations across the world are still, whether directly or indirectly, are associated with agriculture and allied sectors, right? And they are also linked not only with the sustainable agriculture, but very important is the rural development component, right? And be it the National Action Plan on Climate Change, it also emphasizes on climate resilient agriculture in India's adaptation measures, and programs such as the Soil Health Card Scheme. What it uses precision nutrient management. Now we will talk about what is this precision nutrient management in a while, to optimize agricultural methods, right? And the concept of precision farming or agriculture in India is still in infancy, right? It has not yet developed or matured to a greater extent in a developing country like ours. So आप सोच रहे होंगे what is this precision farming? We will talk in a while about the same. And definitely what is required are the community supported efforts. These are very much required, right? And the ideas in action, what are the examples of CSA ideas in action? The examples include improvement in agroforestry, sustainable water management, and the precision agriculture. All of these are concrete examples. हम बात कर रहे हैं climate smart agriculture, that we need to boost agricultural productivity as well as farmer income or revenue. We talk about reducing the greenhouse gases. So agroforestry, improvements in agroforestry sustainably managing water and precision agriculture. All of these are example of this CSA. And it promotes crop diversification, increasing water efficiency, and integrates drought resistant crop types. Right. So very important is to reduce the exposure to climate related dangers and shocks. But how do we do that? That is a $1 million question. How do we reduce the dangers? Because so CSA, that is climate smart agriculture, it increases resilience in the face of longer term shocks. Longer term shocks like अभी हो क्या रहा है, climate change is on a rise, और उसकी वजह से we are having the shorter growing seasons and erratic weather patterns. Just now we had seen climate change, how it is impacting your food security. Temperature के अंदर there are anomalies, right? There are changes. And because of that, we are having erratic weather patterns. In fact, the classic example is our very own Indian monsoon, right? It is very much dependent upon the vagaries of the nature. And in addition to these benefits, CSA implementation is also increasing the economic autonomy of farmers. We often talk about doubling the farmer's income. Ashok Dalwai Committee. So this can go a long way to promote that, right? And increasing popularity of CSA, it is also a promising indicator for biodiversity conservation. How biodiversity would be conserved? Biodiversity would be conserved if the agricultural practices are in consonance with nature, are in consonance with climate change, right? And agricultural sector is also responsible for release of lot of greenhouse gases. And the sector's share in greenhouse gas emissions in year 2018 was around 17%. Now this needs to be brought down. And furthermore, this CSA would help in enhancing farmland carbon storage or carbon sequestration. And be it the Paris Agreement. देखें, सभी चीजें बहुत हद तक इंटर रिलेटेड है. हम बात कर रहे हैं क्लाइमेट चेंज की, हम बात कर रहे हैं क्लाइमेट स्मार्ट एग्रीकल्चर की. और जब हम एग्रीकल्चर की बात करते हैं, सो इन एग्रीकल्चर देयर इज लॉट ऑफ ग्रीन हाउस gases which are emitted, be it from the livestock, be it from the production of the fertilizer or urea, etc. And all of us are aware about the Paris Climate Agreement back in 2015, wherein there are efforts to limit the global temperatures below 2 degrees Celsius, or preferably 1.5 degrees Celsius, right? So all of these are directly tied to the success of climate smart agriculture, right? And what is happening? Production resources are diminishing, and at the same time agricultural products जो demand is increasing, right? And one of the case studies from Northwest Indo-Gangetic Plains, for wheat production, it shows that site-specific no tillage, that is zero tillage. What is tillage? Tillage is jutai in Hindi, is advantageous for fertilizer management, and it can boost the yield, nutrient usage efficiency, and the profitability, while lowering the greenhouse gas emissions. So there was a study conducted, Northwest Indo-Gangetic Plains, or you can show this as well. This region is famous for wheat production. So no tillage was done. और एक no tillage की वजह से क्या हुआ है? Better fertilizer management. Nutrient usage efficiency. It got increased, boosting the yield, enhancing the farmer's income, right? And also lowering the greenhouse gases, right? And we definitely, as a country, are at a unique juncture or a historic cusp, because majority of our farmers are still small, and either they are small or they are marginal farmers, right? And it should be kept in mind, the CSA, that is climate smart agriculture adoption, it is not merely desirable, rather it is essential, right? ऐसा नहीं है कि it is उसको सिर्फ desire किया जा रहा है कि ऐसा हो जाए, rather it is very much essential, or it is the need of the hour rather, right? And do we have examples? Do we have any examples of government initiatives in India itself which is promoting the CSA? Yes, definitely we have a number of examples. And these include the National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change, the National Innovation on Climate Resilient Agriculture, Feed the Soil Health Mission, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana for the better water efficiency in agriculture, be it Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, that is for the organic farming, Biotech Kisan, that is use of biotechnology to aid agriculture, and climate smart villages. All of these are the government initiatives which have a direct focus on climate smart agriculture, right? Also, various public as well as private sector entities are, such as the farmer producer organizations, also known as FPOs, as well as NGOs, they are also working towards the adoption of CSA, that is the climate smart agriculture. And in order to carry out climate smart agriculture, very important, conservation agriculture. Now, what is conservation agriculture? Basically, there are three pillars again of conservation agriculture, wherein minimum soil disturbance is there. A minimum soil disturbance kaise hoga? If there is zero tillage or minimum tillage. And second is, if we cover the land with mulch, with crop residue, etc. So it would help to conserve the soil moisture. And finally, crop rotation or intercropping पे ध्यान दिया जाएगा. So that is again in consonance with climate smart agriculture. And apart from conservation agriculture, we also have agroforestry, right? So what is agroforestry? So agroforestry, as the name suggests, agricultural plus forestry, wherein we try and integrate trees and shrubs with crops and livestock. And if this is done, then it leads to more diverse and productive agricultural system. And if we have more diverse or productive agricultural system, we definitely are going to reap major benefits out of them. And major benefits out of them include enhancement in the soil quality, right? It builds the soil health. हमेशा याद रखिए, नेचर के अंदर बायोडाइवर्सिटी इज ऑलवेज एंड ऑलवेज डिजायरेबल, राइट? Conserved water, right? Because it slows the runoff, it reduces the soil erosion and improves the water quality. Water aquifers are recharged more efficiently and in a better manner. And it also helps to diversify the income sources. अब खुद ही सोचिए, if a farmer is having a simple agricultural land, This is case of farmer A, wherein he or she only grows a particular kind of crop. But there is a farmer B, or farmer B also grows the same crop, but along with this crops, he or she has grown certain trees also. Introduce livestock also. So definitely with the diversification of crops, shrubs, livestock, trees, etc. इनकम का भी तो जो सोर्स है वो भी डाइवर्सिफाई होगा, thereby boosting not only the farmers income but boosting the rural development. और एक क्वेश्चन था यूपीएससी मेंस में, for the success of smart cities, smart villages are also very much required. Rural urban migration, it can also be arrested or checked up to a great extent, and definitely there would be a provisioning services like agroforestry would also provide us fuel, wood, fodder, and sequester carbon. What is carbon sequestration? Carbon sequestration is nothing but capture or storage of carbon, right? So this is also an important example of climate smart agriculture. And finally, precision irrigation. So we have already seen precision irrigation, but uska matlab kya hai? Now let us try and understand what do we mean by precision irrigation. तो जो word है precision या फिर precise, उसी से आप समझ सकते हैं that in agriculture what is happening, there is use of science and technology, right, for better management of agricultural systems. And the examples include, so this is a drone, and with the help of drone, what is happening? Spreading of insecticides, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. With the help of science and technology, what is happening? Diagnosis of diseases. In simple words, consider a farmer having a laptop, right, and operating with the help of the laptop or with the help of a smart tablet कि कितने टाइम पे कितनी मात्रा में कितना पानी दिया जाएगा, कितना खाद दिया जाएगा, कितने न्यूट्रिएंट सप्लाई होंगे, राइट, एंड टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट. That is nothing but precision agriculture, right? That you are controlling the agricultural inputs with the help of science and technology, right? So this definitely is a positive use of science and technology, right? So diagnosis of diseases. And if we check water, then we can also tackle water stress with the help of precision agriculture or climate smart agricultural practices, proper field monitoring, variable rates of fertility, right? Soil erosion can be arrested, and smart data, and better, the farmer would be in a position to better analyze the crop yields. So all of these are examples of your precision agriculture, right? So drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, collection of rainwater, all are examples of effective climate smart agriculture, right? That can be used to maximize water use efficiency and reduce the negative impacts on the environment, because we have already seen one of the negative impacts of green revolution was flood irrigation, and because of that desertification is increasing in states like Punjab, Haryana, parts of Western UP as well, right? And it can also be the precision irrigation, it can also be combined with sensors, drones, satellite imagery, so as to monitor the soil moisture, right, and crop water needs in a real time. अब सभी ने ज्योग्राफी में जरूर से पढ़ा होगा आइसोथर्म्स का कॉन्सेप्ट. So isotherms are not very helpful for the farmers, because farmers want real time information, be it of the temperature, be it of the soil moisture, be it of the soil nutrients, etc. But what are the challenges before climate smart agriculture, especially in a developing country like ours? First and the foremost, lack of knowledge and awareness. In fact, just ask yourself, how many of us are aware about even the term climate smart agriculture, right? So definitely there is a lack of awareness and knowledge. Limited access to finance, insurance, as well as markets. This is again a major hurdle in climate smart agriculture, and very important for success of any policy program. What is required apart from awareness and knowledge? Infrastructure. So in terms of infrastructure, we have inadequacy, right? So inadequate infrastructure and institutional support. Moreover, high cost are also involved, right? High cost as well as risk. And finally, the policy and regulatory barriers. These are also the challenges. So what measures should be taken? These were the problems. So what are the solutions? हमेशा याद रखिए, प्रॉब्लम में ही सॉल्यूशन छुपा हुआ है. अगर लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस और नॉलेज है, so make better use of agriculture extension services, right? अगर limited access to finance, insurance और markets है, so what do we need to do? We need to pitch in with more of finance, more of insurance, as well as markets. And definitely we have examples in the form of ENAM, right? So finance capacity building and awareness, financial and technical support is required. Policy as well as institutional strengthening is required. Encouraging the marginalized groups to participate. And one of the ways can be by forming farmers producers organization. And we have success stories also. What is Amul? Anand Milk Union Limited. Is it not a success story? Not only in India, but worldwide, globally as well, right? And we need to definitely foster innovation and collaboration. Now this point, it is not restricting or limited just to climate smart agriculture. This point is applicable to each and every theme or topic, be it health, be it education, be it internal security, etc. ये पॉइंट सभी में कॉमन है, right? And we also need to be aware of the initiatives of climate smart agriculture. What are the initiatives at global level? And at times prelims में भी question directly पूछे गए हैं from the global initiatives, and we will see those as well, right? So CGIAR research program on climate change, agriculture and food security, CCAFS. What is this? This is a global partnership of research organization which works on the interrelated challenges of food security, poverty, as well as climate change. Thereafter we have World Bank Group or World Bank. हम सभी को पता है World Bank mainly किस में involved रहता है? World Bank mainly it provides loans, grants and technical support to the CSA, that is climate smart agriculture projects and programs in the developing countries, right? Global Alliance on Climate Smart Agriculture. Now this was again a prelims question. It is a voluntary platform that brings together governments, civil society, farmers, research institutions and private sector so as to facilitate the knowledge sharing, the policy dialogue and investment. So this you can quote very well in your answers also, right? And finally, Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network. Now, as the name suggests, this is a group of young people from different countries who are promoting CSA, Climate Smart Agriculture, awareness and action among the youth and other stakeholders. So these are some of the initiatives for climate smart agriculture. I hope the concept is clear, right? And this is how you can conclude your answer. You can make a diagram. So this is climate smart agriculture, and it is at the heart of adaptation. It is at the heart of the mitigation as well as the food security. And these are the positive outcomes as a result of climate smart agriculture. There will be increase in productivity, increase net run, improve input use efficiency. Be the input water, be the input fertilizers, etc. Right? Reduction in emissions, increase resilience towards climate change, and increase gender as well as social inclusions. So it is definitely has the potential to assure the food security, empower the farmers as well as protect our delicate ecosystems by merging innovation, resilience, and sustainability. Right? Now let us see some of the questions which have been asked, but consider these as your assignment. Just comment down what is the answer for this. So in year 2018, question was on Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture. Which of the following statements are true? So it is an outcome of climate summit held in Paris 2015. The membership does not create any binding obligations, and India was instrumental in the creation of this Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture. So what is the answer for this? This was being asked in as a part of Prelims 2018. और 2018 के अंदर ही एक और क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था with reference to circumstances in Indian agriculture. The concept of conservation agriculture assumes significance. And which of the following fall under the conservation agriculture? Now a total of 5 statements are being given. और यहाँ पे आपका conceptual clarity is being tested by UPSC. What do you mean by conservation agriculture with respect to Indian conditions, right? Indian agriculture. So does it include avoiding the monoculture practices, adopting minimum tillage, or right, avoiding cultivation of plantation crops, using crop residues, right? So this was being asked. Again, this is your assignment. So we have already seen conservation agriculture. There are 3 मेजर प्रिंसिपल्स. मिनिमम टिलेज, कम से कम सॉइल को डिस्टर्ब किया जाए. कम से कम ज्यादा से ज्यादा सॉइल कैसे डिस्टर्ब होता है? इफ वी यूज हैवी मशीनरी लाइक ट्रैक्टर्स, हैवी टिलर्स, बट इन कंपैरिजन इफ वी यूज अ बुलक, राइट, बेल, तो मिनिमम टिलेज. even lesser would be done by humans. Permanent soil organic cover, mulching. And finally, species diversification, because diversification of species is always beneficial for nature, right? And in year 2021, in context of India's preparation for climate smart agriculture, consider the following statement. Now again, a global initiative was being asked. Climate change, agriculture and food security. It is an international research program. अभी कुछ ही देर पहले हमने देखा था global initiatives, right? And it is carried under consultative group on international agriculture research, headquarters in France. And finally, ICRI-SAT in India is one of the research centers of CGIAR. So if you have paid attention, India's preparation for climate smart agriculture, Indian agriculture, concept of conservation agriculture, that means UPSC is focusing upon the burning issues which is being faced by India, which is being faced by world, right? And finally, we end today's session with a quote given by none other than Sri M.S. Swaminathanji, right? So if agriculture goes wrong, nothing else will have a chance to go right. To ponder over this, Thank you so much and have a good time.